Hey guys, this week on Home Built, I've come to a stopping point on the 911, so it's time to get stuck into the Datsun. Alright, for those of you who are new here, let me just run through a little bit. So I've been working on this 911 now for quite a while, and it's getting close to the end, but I'm still waiting on engine bits. We are developing new parts and making custom pieces. It takes a lot of time, a lot of R&D, and unfortunately we're still working on it with Neil in LA. So to keep things rolling and to keep me motivated, we're going to stop on the 911 and we're going to start working on the Datsun. Before I can start on the Datsun, I need to get the 911 rolling, and to get the 911 rolling, I need to change the front wheel bearings over because if you remember, I got one of the wheel bearings stuck. So let's change over a wheel bearing and see if we can get this thing out of there. So if you remember a while back, I had a bunch of trouble getting the hub off of the car, and the reason was that part of the bearing has actually stayed on the car. The seal and the bearing is actually still on the spline, and the bearing actually fell apart when I tried to pull it off. So I'm not feeling great about having to change it. I have got a new bearing kit. So it comes with the in and the outer front wheel bearings and the seal. So now I need to try and see if I can get this off. I'm hoping it hasn't damaged the shaft, but I've got to get it off first to actually see what condition's all in and see if I can clean it all up. Alright, that took a bit of tapping to get it off, but it actually, the spindle doesn't actually look corroded, and neither does the inside of the bearing. The bearing, internal of the bearing, actually looks like it's in reasonable condition. So I don't know why it was stuck there, but maybe it just didn't have enough grease on it at the first time. So doesn't look like I've done any damage, which is great. So next challenge is going to be getting them out of these old hubs. Alright, it took quite a bit of effort to just sort of tap all the way around the bearing races to get them out of these hubs. And now they're out, I need to give them a good clean up in the parts washer before I put the new bearings in. Alright, I bit the bullet and I bought myself a shot press because I thought it's going to come in handy anyway. So now I'm going to try and press in the bearing races back into these hubs. Now they're all cleaned out. I don't know if I'm supposed to do this or not. I said I've never done it before, but I'm just going to put a light covering of grease just around the edge of the races, just so make sure they're nice and clean, and they might slip in. It might be wrong. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's they're just supposed to be pressed in dry or not. But I'm thinking a bit of lubrication can't hurt. I've got myself some really big sockets that I'm going to use, and I'm going to use that to press it in, and fingers crossed. Alright, that was a real mongrel to press those in, particularly the larger side, the inner side. It just kept trying to cock itself, and it was just a pain. Even using the press, it just kept cocking it. The issue that I had was that the socket was just slightly smaller than the bearing, which is what I wanted, because what I needed, because I need to be able to press into the press the bearing race in without actually touching the sides. But being slightly smaller, it could just slip off the edges and just cock slightly going in, and it was just a real pig. I have them in now, and now I got myself one of these bearing packers, and now I've got to work out how to use it and pack these bearings with grease before I put them back on the car. bearings are in. Now I just got to put the seals into the back. Okay, to tighten, this needs to be turned around, and apparently you need to turn it around until the washer that's behind here, I don't know if you can see this, can just be moved. See the washer that's moving backwards and forwards behind there? I need to tighten this up until the washer can barely be moved. About there looks pretty tight, so now I'll just tighten up the spindle, and that should be round one done. Last thing is just to put a bit of grease on the inside of this cap and then tap the cap on, and front wheel bearings are done. I'm not putting the calipers on at the moment because I'm still waiting for brake pads, so we'll put these on, button it up, and then we'll be able to get the car down off the lift. Alright, wheels are on, and it's time to actually move the 911 out of the way. Alright, so now the 911 is all tucked away, and we have the Datsun in its new spot. First thing I need to do is actually empty out all of the stuff that is inside it, because it is chock full of stuff, and when I bought it I sort of looked over everything quickly and didn't really take a full stock of what I've got. So first things first, get everything out, and let's do a bit of a stock take of exactly what we're working with. So as you can see, I have a large range of parts, and there's multiple of some things, like there's a couple of fans there's 3 front grills, there's a whole bunch of bits and pieces. So there's a few little bits and pieces I have already noticed that I'm missing, not much. I don't have a gear stick, and I don't have a gearbox cross member, but besides that I've got multiples of lots of things, and Zach, when he sold me the car, actually owns a whole bunch of these, and did say if I was missing anything to just come and see him. Having a look at the car itself, just looking through the engine bay, common rust areas underneath the battery tray. That looks like it is pristine. I'm not sure how far the previous owner got with the repairs on this car, but this car is insanely neat. There is so little rust. The door skins are rubbish. You can see the amount of body filler in the door skins and stuff here, but the actual body of the car is amazing. This floor is rock solid. The whole inside of the car and underside of the car is fantastic. Even coming around to another common rust area, these parts in here and all that in there is all in really good condition. You know, a little tiny bit of surface rust there, and there's nothing there. It is really, really neat. All this is super neat. Looks like there was a little bit of surface rust in here that they've treated, but nothing, definitely nothing going through. Even up until this morning, I was basically thinking my first task on this car was going to be to strip it down and build a rotisserie and put it on and turn it upside down. And looking at how straight it is, even looking underneath the car, it's so straight and rust free, I think it's pointless, to be honest. These front guards have got lots of hidden bog and rust in them, I know that, and the doors do as well, so there's definitely rust repairs to be done on some of the removable body panels, but the actual shell of the car is fantastic. Engine-wise, you can see currently there is an L28 sitting in here, so this is not a matching numbers car. I was tossing up what way to go with this car. It is a 1971 Datsun 240Z. So it's not the 1970, it's not the earliest. It doesn't have the louvers on the rear hatch. As far as engines go, at this stage I'm sort of looking at keeping it naturally aspirated. Hopefully I can get a few nice bits and pieces together, but keeping it old school. I'm not going for crazy turbo power. I've had plenty of turbo Nissans in my past. If you want to go back and have a look at my old car history, you can see it there. But I think this engine is probably what I want to be the base for what I work up from, and we'll see what condition this is in. I have no idea what the engine's like, or the gearbox or anything else for that matter. Overall, it's much better condition than my 911 was, and I know it's a hell of a lot better than the Alpha that I'm going to tackle after this. Even looking underneath, now that I've removed all this, it still looks really, really clean. The whole car, it looks very neat. So, alright, now everything is stripped down and I've just sat the panels back on there because it's easier to store them there than just have them sitting around. Now everything's there. I think I need a little bit of inspiration, so I think I might, I think it's time to do a bit of a sketch up and get inspired. There is our inspiration picture. Inspiration picture for the Z. So I suppose that must mean it's time for fun facts with Mrs. Jeff.
Hi guys, did you know that the very beginning of Datsun came in 1914 when the Kaishinsha Motor Car Works built a car called the DAT? DAT, or DAT, is actually an acronym of the company's partners' names. There was Kenjiro Den, Rokuro Aoyama, and Meitaro Takuchi. Dat, or dato in Japanese, actually means to dash off like a startled rabbit, which made it a great name for a car. In 1925, the company actually changed its name to Dat Motor Car Company and began building Dat trucks alongside its passenger cars.
Alright guys, that's it for another week. Very excited to be starting the Datsun. It's going to be a fun project, and looking at the car, I am really happy with the condition that it's in. It's going to make life so much easier. As you saw, I did the sketch up today, so the shirts and hoodies will be out soon, so have a look at the link in the description and keep an eye out, and the Datsun shirts will be coming very soon if you want to help the channel out. And as always, if you're enjoying the videos, please like and subscribe to my channel, Home Built by Jeff, and you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at the same place. See you guys.